Hi, this is Infinigate TV from Black Hat USA 2014, and this is the Day 1 update. The keynote speaker was Dan Geer. He spoke about 10 different topics within information security from a higher perspective. One of the topics he talked about was the abandonment. Now, he was talking first about you can't abandon your house, you can't abandon your car, and you can't make an operating system like Windows XP and then abandon it. Because people still use it, it's not being updated, things are going to go bad. So these are big issues he talked about, and it was the broader lines that was discussed. He did make a lot of interesting points. It was also the similarity between how if your medical records are private, but if you get a disease like Ebola, they're no longer private. They are shared because it could have major impact on society. Organizations, software vendors who have breaches, who have security fails, should then also have these sort of same mechanisms if their software fails or if their breaches or security fails are big enough. Their source code should be private unless the fail is big enough so that people then can choose to disable the functions that are compromised. The second briefing we went to was regarding the attack surfaces of cars. Now, these are specific cars that had been mapped, and they looked at all the electronics, they mapped it out, trying to establish which cars are more vulnerable to attacks, cyber attacks, of course, and why. And they didn't hack any cars per se. They only did jailbreak of a Cherokee Jeep, which was interesting. But the fact that automobile makers have to make decisions regarding cybersecurity and IT security when they make their cars is definitely a topic that's going to be dominating in the IT security industry for the years to come. This talk from Mikko Hyppinen was extremely interesting, and it was talking about governments and malware. Governments as malware creators, and also the sources for spreading the malware, and for usage in law enforcement, warfare, espionage, surveillance, often against its own citizens. He mentioned Western companies who sell malware to countries that don't have the capabilities to develop them themselves, to monitor their own, anti-government sentiments, maybe. He talked about also Stuxnet, which was sort of sabotage type software, malware, which we haven't seen before. It was also very complicated, of course. And he did make an interesting remark that the first APTs he discovered back in 2003 haven't really changed that much. They're pretty much the same still. So 11 years later, they're still the same. And there were also a number of coincidences from his work in malware analysis that there were quite interesting finds in regarding to nation states attacking other nation states, as well as its own population in terms of law enforcement. He mentioned that Finland now recently had a law which enables police lawfully to install malware on suspects' computers. So this is good if we can get accountability and visibility, but if everything is done behind closed doors, behind curtains, who knows what the data is used for. So this was extremely interesting for us here. That about wraps it up for day one, so stay tuned tomorrow for day two updates from Black Hat Infinigate TV.